morning. I hope everybody is doing so well. It is almost Christmas, which means it is almost the end of the year. And what does that mean? That means we've finished a whole year of reading, guys. A whole year of reading. And I'm here to talk to you about I'm in a good place where I think I can do my favorite book from every month for 2024. I think I've read my favorite book of December of 2024. I don't think there's a book that's going to top it, and we'll talk about it. So, pulling up my little spreadsheet, you guys know that I track my books, and I've talked to my therapist about this recently. I track my books 3 different ways. I do a Excel spreadsheet. I have a book journal, which we are going to go through before the first of the year. And then I also use Goodreads. So I track 3 different ways my books that I read in a year, which is a little bit obsessive, but that's okay. That's okay. It's something that's important to me, and I would hate to lose it. So let's jump into January and talk about my favorite book of January. And sorry about the background. We are really deep in getting the stuff moved out of the house, so it's just going to look very plain for a little while, and I hope that's okay. But starting in January, I had 1, 2, 3, 4 5-star plus reads in January, so it was kind of hard to pick a favorite book for January. It was one of the hardest months to pick. But I'm going to go with A Study in Drowning. It was one of my favorite reads of the year. It's dark academia. It's beautifully written Gothic fiction. You know, I wanted to get more into Gothic fiction, but I find it really hard to read for some reason. This book was not hard to read. A Study in Drowning by Ava Reid is one of my favorite books of the year. And even though I had 4 or 5-star plus reads in the month of January, A Study in Drowning pretty easily takes the cake for the month of January. I had 5 5-star plus reads in February. I promise some months it's much easier to pick a favorite book of the month. But I absolutely loved a lot of the books that I read in February. I read my first Elle Kennedy in February and absolutely loved it, and went on to read everything that she wrote. I read my first Lexi Ryan in February and went on to read the entire series, and just recently read the 3rd book. But nothing, in my opinion, tops House of Flame and Shadow, which is book 3 in the Crescent City series. The way that series has me in a chokehold, the way I am a Rune Danon girl until I die. House of Flame and Shadow was my favorite book of February. It just was so good. I absolutely loved that book. Now, coming into the next month of March, I had only 1 5-star plus read. So that book is going to get my top book of the month, and that was Dance of Thieves by Mary E. Pearson. It is another romantasy. You guys, there's a theme, obviously. And I will say I did not enjoy book 2 as much as I enjoyed book 1, which was the first book is Dance of Thieves. I cannot remember, it's something of Thieves, what the second book is called, but I know I didn't give it a 5-star plus like I did Dance of Thieves. Dance of Thieves was excellent, though. I really, really enjoyed that, and it was my favorite March book. March, April. Golly. I should write the name of the month next to it. They're color-coded, but I should write the name of the month next to it. April. 7 5-star plus reads, guys. 7 5-star plus reads. I read some really great stuff. Unsteady was a great hockey romance that dealt with a lot of mental health issues. Powerless, of course, by Lauren Roberts. So good. Absolutely fantastic. The Beloved by J.R. Ward is the most recent in the Black Dagger Brotherhood. But I have to give it to Funny Story by Emily Henry. that book drew something out of me. It is a traditional romance. It's, I guess, probably a romantic comedy, but it deals a lot with found family and just family issues in general and the baggage that we carry from them. And it was so well done. If you are looking for a good romance that will also make you cry, you can probably pick up just about any of Emily Henry's books. But her most recent one, Funny Story, was a 5-star plus and my favorite book of April. Coming into May, we have way less 5-star plus reads. We only have 2, and while I loved both of them, A Fate Inked in Blood by Danielle L. Jensen, as well as my favorite book is Abby Jimenez's Just for the Summer. This was my first book I read of Abby Jimenez's. I didn't realize it was the third book in a Part of Your World series. So I read it, actually, that series in exact backwards order. I read Just for the Summer, and then the next book, and then A Part of Your World. Because for whatever reason, it was hard to find A Part of Your World. I ended up having to buy it full price from Barnes & Noble. I think I got Just for the Summer at Book Outlet for like $5.99 on a sale. The second one I got at the library, but the first one was just nowhere to be found. So I had to pay full price for it, and that's why it was the third one that I read. But that whole series is incredible. This was my first Abby Jimenez, and she is an insta-purchase author for me now. Just absolutely amazing. So that was April, May, June. We're coming into June, and in June, my favorite book of the month was Heavenbreaker by Sarah Wolf. This was almost my favorite book of the year, except for some heavy hitters that came in towards the end of the year. Heavenbreaker was incredible. It is mech fighting, space, strong female main character who is out for revenge. The romance is very light-knit. I do feel like there's going to be more in book 2, but in book 1, if you don't like a lot of smut, you'll be safe with this one. I really liked Heavenbreaker by Sarah Wolf. It's a Red Tower book. You guys know I generally like those. So yeah, no surprise. Sarah Wolf, Heavenbreaker was my favorite book of June. Into July, I had not a single 5-star plus read. I literally can't talk. It's because I'm trying to do too many things at one time. But I will say my favorite book of the month was probably Margot's Got Money Trouble by Ruthie Thorpe. I did give it a solid 4 stars. And the reason I say that is because it's a very unique fiction that I just hadn't read anything else like it here recently. And I do read a lot of stuff where it feels like rinse and repeat. So Margot's Got Money Trouble by Ruthie Thorpe is probably my favorite book of July. I just thought it was really good and really well done. Okay. So then we're coming into August. And in August, I had 2 5-star plus reads. One of them was Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez. But I'm not going to give that my favorite book of August because I already gave it another month in the same series. I don't feel like that's fair. I try to not let an author take multiple months in a row. So we're going to give it to the second 5-star plus read that I had that month, which is The Rom-Commers by Catherine Center. This book I was not expecting to love as much as I did. I saw it on my TikTok a little bit, not a lot. And I went to my library to return a book, and they have at my library one shelf that's new. Like, it's just came in. You can only get it for 7 days, etc. And this was on there, and I was like, oh, I keep one TikToker that I watch keeps talking about this book. Let me check it out real quick. And sure enough, I'm so glad that I did because it was heartfelt, it was funny, it was romantic. I really enjoyed this book. I have read maybe one other thing by Catherine Center. This book was my favorite thing she's written, though. I really enjoyed it. In a month where I actually had some that I had high hopes for that fell short, I'm giving it to The Rom-Commers. September, I also had 2 5-star plus reads. Seems to be a theme, 2 of them. And if I don't have 7, I have 2. And that was The Do-Over by Lynn Painter, and my favorite book of September, which is The God of the Woods by Liz Moore. That was a really well done thriller. It's, I think, the only thriller taking my best of list this year, which is unusual. I usually have more thrillers in there than that, and I did read, I'd say 20% of my books I read were thrillers this year. Not as high as previous years, but still a nice number. This was my favorite thriller of the year, though. It is spooky, creepy, it is family drama, and just really well done. It is a 600-page beast, though, so be prepared to take it on. If it's worth it, though. If you like thrillers, don't be scared by the size of it. So then we come into October. October had 3 5-star plus reads. Two Can Play by Ali Hazelwood, which is actually a novella, so I don't feel like that's fair to do. And then Us in Ruins by Rachel Moore. Very, very good. I'm excited to read the other book that kind of is a duology with that, I think. I don't know if the characters overlap, but it's at least the library something within us. I'm not sure. It kind of, the title goes along with it, so I assumed that it was together with it. I don't know if the characters are the same. But anyways, I'm excited to read that. I plan to read it next year. But that was a 5-star plus read, but it's not my favorite. My favorite book of September was Bloodguard by Ceci Robinson. If you like the Roman time period, if you went and saw Gladiator 2 and wanted more romantic, smutty fiction, Bloodguard was great. It was so great. I read it on my Kindle, on Kindle Unlimited, and immediately went and bought the special edition copy. It was just fantastic. Absolutely loved Bloodguard. What was not to love about it? Another Red Tower book. In November, I had but one 5-star plus read, and that is Quicksilver by Callie Hart. And controversially, how do you say that word? Controversially, I am going to give Quicksilver my favorite book of the year for a few reasons. One, it was really fantastically paced. Two, it was a surprise read for me. I wasn't expecting to love it that much. It was like a self-published type book, I think, in the beginning. She has since republished it, and you can purchase it in stores now. But I loved this book. Was it a little bit tropey? Yeah, but I do feel like there were enough things that were done differently. I loved this book. Quicksilver is my favorite book of 2024. Sorry about it. And the reason that I say controversially, the reason that I say sorry about it, is because of my December favorite read. And I'll tell you, it's not even a 5-star plus. I may have another 5-star plus read in this year. I do have some, but they were rereads, and I refuse to give a reread best book of the month, even though I do love them, but I probably got it. Anyways, I digress. Wind and Truth, obviously by Brandon Sanderson, is my book of December. How could it be anything else? I'm currently reading The Prison Healer. Love it. It's fantastic so far. The Prison Healer by Lynette Nani. Very good so far. I'm doing it on Audible, and it's really, really, really good. Nothing's going to take the Wind and Truth spot, though. That is my book of December. The reason it's not my book of the year is because I did have a few issues with it. You can watch my Wind and Truth review if you want to, where I had found that I had less issues with Quicksilver. I know there are going to be some pissed off people with me picking Quicksilver over Wind and Truth as my favorite book of the year. Doesn't mean I didn't love Wind and Truth, okay? I did. It's fantastic. Minus its flaws, it is a beautiful, brilliantly worked book. But obviously it's got more flaws because guess what? It's double, triple the size of Quicksilver. It's got more room for error, okay? We're going off of vibes, and I'm standing on business. Quicksilver is my book of the year. Wind and Truth is a very close second, okay? Sue me. And I'm talking to one person in particular. No, I'm just kidding. I love you, Kayla. Please don't hate me. But, yes. Wind and Truth is obviously my December read of the year. And that's all 12 books that I recommend for this year. The best of my best. I read, God, it'll probably be 170 books this year. I'm at 166. We got 2 weeks-ish left in the year. So we'll easily hit 170. Out of 170 books, those are the 12 that I loved the most, guys. Take it with a grain of salt or read them. I would love for you to read them. Please comment down below if you do. I'd love, love, love when people read stuff that I've read and tell me and say, hey, I loved this, or hey, you're full of shit. This was crap. So, yeah, I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for caring what I read this year. And I will see you guys with another review.